Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Infinite Crypto Cruisers. Hey there, folks. My name is Brad Varnell, and this is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. And today I am super excited for another token teaser segment. We've got an incredible project, and we've got a young man here on the channel that's going to share with us just basically everything that we need to know about the PureFi protocol. He's been in the blockchain space since way back in 2015. He's got an incredible wealth of knowledge, and let's all welcome Mr. Vasco, the COO of PureFi protocol. How you doing today?
Hi everyone. Thanks for the intro, Brad. Yeah, I'm doing great. Thanks a lot.
Awesome, man. So excited to have you here. You know, DeFi is near and dear to my heart. Having been around the space now since similar to you, I think I bought my first Bitcoin in about 2016. But one of the things that I love about cryptocurrency is the ability, you know, to create passive income and not just capital gains. And so I love DeFi protocols, but as we know over the years, there's been some problems in the DeFi space. And I love the fact, you know, that you guys really seem to have a viable solution to a lot of the, you know, the speed bumps and the things that we run into. So, you know, without any further ado, why don't you just give us a little bit about your background? Tell us how you got into this crazy, you know, blockchain space, and we'll just kind of roll from there.
Yeah, sure. Thanks a lot for the intro. So actually, I got into crypto around 2015 or 2016. Fun part that I was playing computer games and I was trying to sell my skins. It's like in-game assets. And the cheapest option was to withdraw them via Bitcoin. So at that time, this was my first time. So of course, when I got this magic internet currency, it got my attention. So I started exploring it, I started studying it, and then I kind of watched the craziness of 2017. And that actually told me that there might be something about it. So I was studying it in the parallel and going around my career. So I actually started in the traditional compliance space. I worked in compliance in Deloitte, but I kind of kept watching the markets. I kept studying about Bitcoin, DeFi, and about 4 years ago, I was actually able to combine my passion with my professional knowledge. So I joined PureFi, where we actually try to bridge the gap between the compliance world and between the crypto world, because the concept themselves are a bit contradicting, but that's what we're here for. I think I don't hear you, so I don't know if it's my sound or your voice. Yeah,
Sorry
I can
about
hear you
that.
now.
Yeah. Okay, great. So how long has PureFi been in business? How long ago did it actually launch to the public?
Yeah, so the project idea actually came in, I think, in the end of 2020, but the project itself was launched in 2021, in the summer of 2021. So it's been almost 4 years. And I mean, the idea of Purify started very simply because our founding team, they already knew about compliance and its importance in Web 2. So the first product that we developed, it's called AML Bot, and this was actually a compliance product for CeFi. So it's for exchanges, like normal centralized exchanges, or for the users to understand the riskiness of their assets. And then the idea was that with the growth of DeFi and with the institutional interest in DeFi, the same rules would be applicable in DeFi as well. And this was not only our idea, because we also saw the FATF recommendations, and FATF is basically a worldwide organization, financial asset task force, that sets up the recommendations for all of the countries that relates to anti-money laundering. So they set up those recommendations, and then it's up to the countries to implement them on the local level as laws. But I mean, it's not a law, but if you don't implement those recommendations, then you get on the gray list, or black list, as like, I think North Korea is on the blacklist for sure. So we understand that sooner or later, all of the countries will have to implement the regulations. And they specifically mention, of course, there are some details around it, but in essence, they say that if there is a protocol, decentralized protocol, and there is a development team, or there is someone who earns the fees from it, then that person is obliged to follow the same AML and KYC procedures as followed everywhere, basically in the fiat world and in the centralized world. So then that's how this idea came about. And we wanted to combine the best of the two worlds, so to speak, because of course we understand that a lot of people use DeFi because they don't want to use centralized exchanges. They don't want to do KYC. They don't want to hold their assets on the exchanges. So they want privacy, anonymity, and self-custody. So the idea with PureFi was to combine those two aspects. And then we thought, so how can we make it possible? And there is a concept that's is called self-sovereign identity concept that actually says, or actually implies, that the information, like your information, like KYC information, or I don't know, your diplomas, professional qualifications, they are issued by a trusted issuer that everyone trusts, but it's you, the user, who holds this information. And then when you need to prove to someone that, for example, that you're over 18 years old, then you disclose this information. Because of course, what ends up happening, let's say if you have an account on Binance and the authorities do not like something about you, so they can request the information about all of your transaction history on Binance and you wouldn't even know about it, right? But in the self-sovereign identity concept, you hold your KYC information and then you choose how you disclose it. So we basically try to apply this concept to KYC and KYT as well. So then the user would be disclosing to the protocols their KYC data. And we also wanted to use ZK from the beginning, because ZK basically allows you to prove something without revealing the information. So let's say when you go to the bar, the bartender asks you for an ID. I mean, in the US it's 21, in Europe is 18, some countries is 19, but you show them your whole ID so they can see what's your name, where are you from, what is your address, and so on. But they don't need to know this, right? They don't even need to know how old are you. They just need to know if you're older or younger than a set age. So ZK technology actually allows you to prove something without revealing the nature, right? Revealing the whole information. So that was the dream, kind of, but of course we had to deal with the reality, because the reality is that there are certain laws such as GDPR, for example, and GDPR so far, it doesn't have the concept of self-sovereign identity. So there is no concept that user holds the information. The information is held by the data controller, which is not the individual, it is the entity that provides the service, basically. So by understanding all of this, we kind of made a hybrid model where we took the self-sovereign identity concept and basically made it on chain. So it's more user-friendly because, I mean, it's less secure than the true self-sovereign identity concept, but it's more user-friendly because the user does not need to download his information then upload it. It is held on our servers, and also it just makes everything easier from the user perspective, and we think that it is more likely that the regulators will approve that solution than the true self-sovereign identity model, basically.
Okay, cool. So let's go right into this decentralized KYT and how that is this new innovation that you guys are using with Uniswap, and what you see for the future of that. I'm really interested in hearing more about this.
Yeah, sure. So I think maybe also like if I take stack a bit backwards. So the idea of PureFi, as I said, is built on self-sovereign identity concept, but also the idea that the compliance is integrated on the smart contract level. Because what ends up happening in CeFi, when you send your transaction to an exchange, they have an API that checks this transaction and returns the risk score to the exchange. But if we're talking about DeFi, you can interact with a smart contract not only via the website, not only via the front end, but also directly with a smart contract using scripts or Etherscan, whatever. So the existing solutions on the market, most of the DEXs like Uniswap, DYDX, 1inch, they, after Tornado Cash got sanctioned, they got a bit scared. So they understood that they need some sort of compliance. So they integrated an API-based compliance solutions on their front end. So if you take a wallet that is in the sanction list, and then you'll try to connect it to 1inch or Uniswap front end, you'll not be able to do it on the front end. You will be blocked. However, the same wallet can still interact with a smart contract directly. So the main idea of PureFi is to make the compliance unbypassable by integrating on the smart contract level rather than just on the front end level. And as our product were developing, of course, we saw the new trends on the market. So we saw that Uniswap is building its version 4. And in Uniswap version 4, they added a very interesting feature, which is called hooks. So a hook is basically, if I put it in the simple terms, is just like an application almost that you can use once you create a liquidity pair. So the hooks, there are many hooks. So there are like hooks for automatic liquidity spread, for trading, and God knows what. And one of the implementations as well is a compliance hook. So by creating this hook, now anyone who wants to create a pair on Uniswap version 4, they can use our hook, and this pair will be AML and KYC compliant, basically. And they don't need to do any integration, any coding. This pair is already compliant. So that means that the liquidity pool, so if you would want to provide a liquidity to the pool with our hook that has integrated our hook, or you want to do a swap, you would need to fulfill certain rules. So those rules are KYC, KYT, and the transaction amount. And those are just the general rules. They can be modified, so the KYC can be dropped or the KYT can be dropped. But the standard rules that we created as a showcase, so for example, if you swap less than $1,000, the widget pops up and it asks you for an email, and it also checks the risk score of your wallet. So if you've interacted with dark market or sanctions, it will be really high. If you use just the centralized exchanges, it will be low. And then based on your transaction amount, the KYC level increases. So that's just a showcase to show like what is possible. yeah, so that's how it works. We already have like our own pair on Uniswap V4, so anyone can try it out, see how it works in practice.
Awesome. And so I know there's a lot of DeFi companies out there that really work with a lot of retail people, but you guys are really going after some massive companies with massive volume. And so how do all of these protocols and the things that you're putting in place benefit the institutional investors?
Yeah, so overall, I mean, if we look at the compliance, right? So who enforces, so who creates the need for compliance? The most obvious is the regulator, right? So they say you need to be compliant, but the regulator are extremely slow and they don't understand the technology very well. So it takes them time to understand it, to see, to process how it works. So technically speaking, there is no DeFi regulation yet. There are only recommendations by FATF. So, for example, MiCA barely addressed DeFi. It was mostly about the CeFi entities. So we, of course, anticipate that there will be MiCA 2.0 that will address DeFi, but we don't have it yet. And then the second pressure actually comes from the institutional players. Because institutional players, if they want to enter a market or DeFi, they have to kind of fulfill their internal rules and policies, right? So they become kind of a pressure for the whole market to implement compliance. And for example, we have spoken with a few investment funds that provided liquidity on Uniswap, and they told us like it is a nightmare because I mean we're a regulated fund, so we cannot have our funds commingled with stolen assets or sanctioned assets. So in essence, what they had to do to the pools where they provided liquidity, they had to monitor those pools with blockchain analytics tools. And once they would detect that the pool itself has a certain threshold of high risk assets, they would have to pull out their liquidity immediately. So you can imagine that that's kind of like, that's not the most ideal way of using DeFi, right? So it was actually there, and they really liked our solution because once we create or they create a liquidity pair that has our hook implemented, then it's kind of compliance first, right? So you will not be able to enter the pool or use it if you're not compliant. For example, if the risk score of your wallet is too high, like you stole the assets from somewhere and you try to launder them via this liquidity pool. So the need for the compliance also comes from the institutional side, where they need the environment where they can operate. I have to say that it also comes with its own challenges because I don't know if you're aware, Aave, they actually a few years ago they released a product called Aave Arc, which created like a separate environment only for the verified institutions. So they had to go like very crazy KYB, they had to be licensed. And that project failed because they just end up trading against each other. So there was no yield to be made, right? Because there was no retail investors. So it's also like about the balance, like not to over-regulate, right? To kind of eliminate the risky assets, but still let the like kind of good retail users to use your product or to use the liquidity pool.
Okay, cool. And then I was kind of curious, how does this all play into situations, like I think everybody watching today is probably aware of, like the Bybit hack that happened, a week or so ago. And if they're not, they need to be. So I'm kind of curious how PureFi plays into that and how you can protect people from, the type of thing that happened with Bybit. So maybe just kind of give us a little bit of a, background on exactly what happened with Bybit, and then how your solution would, protect us from that type of thing?
Yeah. Thanks. It's a great question. I think it's a great example for the whole industry because I mean the stolen amount is unprecedented. It's 1.5 billion. So what ended up happening is I will not go into details how they stole the funds because I mean I think it was discussed extensively. But what's the most interesting for me at least is how they try to launder them, because they stole the funds in Ethereum. So Ethereum is not ideal solution for, I mean, not ideal cryptocurrency for money laundering. Um, so what they try to do, and they not only they stole Ethereum, they also stole some derivatives like staked Ethereum and so on and so forth. So obviously they had to exchange that to the other cryptocurrency, and their ultimate goal was to bridge it to Bitcoin, because in Bitcoin it's easier to launder funds. Not advice for money laundering, but it's just the reality. So how would they do it, right? So of course they will, since everyone is tracking their case, right? Everyone is blacklisting the addresses. They will not go and try to launder the funds on a centralized exchange. They will try to swap them through DeFi, so through decentralized exchanges and through bridges, of course. So as I mentioned before, currently decentralized exchanges, they only have blockchain analytics solution, so the protective solution on their front end. And the hackers, they're not going to use a front end in most of the cases because they don't want to leave their fingerprints. Because when you use the front end, they can capture your IP, capture your device, so they don't want to do that. So they would most likely interact with the smart contract directly, and that's what they did. So that's why, for example, they were able to launder lots of funds on Uniswap, on Thorchain, on Chainflip, and so on. So Chainflip, for example, they even have had to stop their whole smart contract in order for them to prevent this activity, right? So Thorchain, they didn't halt their trading, so they made a lot of money out of it as well on the transaction fees.
Right.
But how the PureFi could have played a role, because if the highest liquidity pairs that have the highest liquidity, and they use those pairs because they had a lot of money to launder, if they had the PureFi hook implemented or PureFi framework, because PureFi can work not only as a hook is our latest product, it is also a framework that can connect to any smart contract and can allow this smart contract to set up certain rules. As I said, we can even drop KYC, so it doesn't have to be anything to deal with KYC, but it can deal just with KYT, know your transaction. So once those addresses that were laundering the funds, once they get blocklisted and a decentralized service have PureFi integrated, they would be able to reverse those swaps on the smart contract level. So one of the examples that we have, for example, is that we integrated with Railgun. So Railgun is, they call themselves a privacy protocol, but very similar to a mixer. So they actually integrated PureFi and also some other providers. And once they receive a transfer from a wallet that is blacklisted or is known in the illicit activity, they reverse that transaction. So they don't freeze the assets, but they don't let the bad actors to use their system. So that is possible with PureFi, and most of the funds could have, at least the hackers would not be able to swap the funds and launder them further. And on the services, like some of the bridges, for example, they have a freezing function. So some of the bridges, they could have even froze those funds when they were attempting to swap them and to return them to Bybit. So that's how PureFi could have contributed.
Awesome. You mentioned earlier when we were talking that Panther protocol uses PureFi.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Do you have a relationship with Elixir also?
no, not with Elixir,
Okay.
but Panther Protocol, they were actually our partner from some time now.
Okay.
Because they started integrating PureFi as they were building their solution and as they were making sense of their product. So they were finding product market fit. So I think they've actually created a very interesting concept. So they basically allow everyone to create their own zones, which are privacy preserving. And all of those zones can use PureFi based on their compliance rules. Because I
Love it.
mean the idea of PureFi also that it's customizable, because if you are a regulated entity, if you are VASP, virtual asset service provider, depending on your jurisdiction and your risk appetite, you would have a slightly different rule, so a slightly different AML policy, right? So some of the projects might, like that are from, for example, offshore jurisdictions, they are more risk tolerant. Some from a very highly regulated countries like France, like they are very risk averse, so they have very low limits for non KYC swaps and so on. And with
Okay.
PureFi, you can actually configure that, so the system is totally adapted to any AML policy and any thresholds that you as an entity might have. And that's also kind of an idea of Panther, that depending on the entity, they have a freedom to choose how their zone operates from both the compliance level as PureFi does, then also from the operational levels of how the swaps are conducted.
Awesome. And so here's kind of a question that's slightly off topic, but just something that I've been wondering about. Like, I always kind of figured that a hack like Bybit had, or like these big hacks that we hear about, that I've always in my mind I've always felt like, well, they must have had somebody on the inside. There must have been, somebody on the inside that was able to help them do that. But from what you're saying, some of these hackers are so good these days that there doesn't necessarily have to be any type of a breach from inside a platform, a team member that's gone rogue or something like that, in order for these guys to pull stuff like this off. Is that correct?
Well, I would say that it's highly depends who is doing the hack. So, because of course that kind of a hack requires big team. It requires, I think, months of preparation, of social engineering. So, specifically in Bybit hack, I think they were able to hack the employee of Gnosis Safe, or trick him somehow. So then they actually changed the front end specifically just for Bybit. So they've gathered a lot of information. So they understood how Bybit, who signs the transactions, how they're doing it, when they're doing it. So they did some work. So we don't know all of the details, but we know that they had to hack a third party provider in order to hack Bybit. And this is
Okay.
like very advanced stuff. So
Yeah.
in terms of the groups that can do it, I don't think that there are many hackers group except Lazarus that is being, I mean, it's speculated, but I think it's pretty obvious that it's been sponsored by North Korea itself mostly. So then, yeah, they can pull this off. But because I also deal with a lot of investigation cases, like when people lose their crypto and they try to recover it. And for most of the protocols that were exploited that I saw, usually it was an inside job actually. So It was like a developer that someone hired on Upwork, and the founder doesn't understand much about code or what is he or she signing. So then this is how they pull this off. But I think, yeah, the case of Bybit and Lazarus Group is kind of like, it's like a brilliant work, but unfortunately in a very bad way. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. I wanted to run back over here real quick to your website and just give you an opportunity. So for those of you that are watching and that are interested in, really doing a deeper dive on, PureFi and the protocol and everything that they do, and also learning a little bit more about their token, it's PureFi.io. And I just wanted to give you a chance, Vasco. Is there anything on the website that you would like me to highlight? Is there anything that you would like me to click on or really show the community while we're here?
Well, we actually just recently updated our website, and I think where what you're showing right now, we added a very easy widget to purchase a UEFI token, because we know that during this bull market, a lot of new people are entering crypto. So if they want to benefit from protocol growth, that's actually a way how you can purchase tokens in a very easy manner. So the main utility, so why should even people consider holding UEFI tokens, is because the UEFI tokens is used for the payments of the various B2B partners, because every check, right? So once a user of a project that integrated PureFi performs the transactions, then there is a cost associated with KYC and KYT, and this is actually charged in UEFI tokens, or it is ultimately converted to the UEFI token. So that's kind of the main utility of the product. Maybe you can show the roadmap, so that can be of interest.
Yep.
Yeah,
So we're just right here in Q1 of 2025.
Yeah. So we have already released our Uniswap for V4. Also, we actually looking to become a zone manager within the Panther ecosystem and to create our own zone. And one of the bigger projects as well is in Q3 is creating the actual dashboard for the AML officers, where, because we really, and I mean, we see the trend. So LINQ, for example, they have already hired a compliance officer. So we see this trend that even decentralized exchanges, they hire the actual people to do compliance, and those people, they need to work somewhere. So even when our product is integrated on the smart contract level, there still will be some people that need to review some of the transactions or have an access to the transactional data and the risk score, the historical data, and so on. So we're building basically this interface for the compliance professionals that work at the companies that we integrate with, in order for them to have an easy access and digestible information. So that should be a big one. And of course, we try to expand to as many blockchains as we can. Of course, we started on EVM because, I mean, that's the easiest one, right? That's the most obvious one. We also have a solution on NEAR. So we actually, 2 years ago, we received a grant from them and we actually deployed our solution there. But we're kind of tracking where demand is, right? Because it's a big challenge to roll out on like non-EVM blockchain like Atom or Solana, because they have a completely different infrastructure. So it's very costly to do it. So we're kind of looking at the opportunities where we should deploy our resources and the technical team. So yeah.
Awesome. I love it. And then it looks like, so is it, you can actually buy the tokens with your, with your Visa card. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. Visa or MasterCard.
Sweet. That makes it a lot handier for folks. Is that available to United States citizens also, or is that just in other areas of the world?
I think there are some certain restricted jurisdictions. You actually caught me off guard. I have to check with our legal team. I'm not sure if it's
Okay,
available in the United
no,
States.
no worries. For those that want to try it, they can check it out. They can go to the website and look at that for sure on their own. Is there anything else here that you would like highlighted?
Yeah, I mean, we have here PureFi wiki section. It's on the right top, where the brain. Yeah, so if you guys go to the integrate section, and this is probably more for like more technical people. So if you want to learn exactly like, I think here if you go to AML SDK, it's on the right menu, yeah, and you show the interactive mode. Yeah, so again, for people that want to know like in details how the product works, how it operates, how the SSI concept is implemented, you are free to check this out. It also has links to GitHub. It has links to the demo videos. So for people that is really here for the tech and want to learn, want to study, this is a great place. If you would have any questions, you can. We have also a community on Telegram, so you can post questions there. So we like to chat and to answer everyone's questions, and yeah, and just to have a good time there.
Awesome. Yeah, you just mentioned, Telegram. It looks like your Twitter is also robust. And so, folks, the link to their Twitter and their Telegram are both right here on the website. They're also right in the top of the description of this video. At the very top of the description of this video, we've got the links to their website, the link to their Telegram, link to their Twitter. So please, if you are a part of the Infinite Crypto community and you want to know more and become a part of the PureFi community, go join them in their Telegram group. Pull up their Twitter account, because they do a lot of updates and a lot of posting on Twitter. And really go do your own research. Go do your own due diligence. And before we give away the $100, I just want to say thank you to everybody, for being here. And I didn't make it clear in the very beginning, so I do want to give you guys a little bit more time. But in order to be eligible to win some of that $100, the people that have typed in hashtag PureFi, that's getting collected in the background by a random number generator system that I have. And so if you haven't typed in hashtag PureFi into the chat yet, you're going to want to do that. We're going to give the money away in a couple of different ways, but that is going to be one of the ways. So go ahead and hit hashtag PureFi in the chat. Hit the like button on the video. And, and if this is your first time, if you're new to the channel, would love it if you would subscribe. Nothing more, that's how you guys can honor me, is by subscribing to the channel. If you're part of the PureFi community, I'm sure that we're going to have these guys back on the show and do a lot more content on PureFi. So we'd love to have you subscribe. But in the meantime, let's go take a look at CoinGecko. And before I say too much, I just want to say right now, hey, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy that got started in crypto, 8-9 years ago, and was able to create some financial freedom in my life. And now I just, kind of sharing with you guys projects that I like and ways that I feel are good investment vehicles for my money. But you always want to do your own research, your own due diligence. Don't take my word or any influencer's word for that matter when you're getting ready to invest your hard-earned money. But I wanted to just share with you guys that want to take a closer look at this. Right now, you can see it sitting at a little over 2 cents, and it's got a market cap of about $2 million. And when I see a company like this with this type of utility and this kind of a low market cap, I personally see opportunity. I see asymmetrical risk when I look at projects like this. In fact, we just 2 hours ago or so, I had a microcap gem live stream that I do every Wednesday. It focuses on lower market cap projects that we believe have the potential to maybe do some amazing multiples. So I love the fact that you are down here at around a $2 million market cap. Something else that I think is great about this token, folks, is you can see not only can you get it here on Ethereum, but you can also get it on BNB Smart Chain. You can also get it on Polygon. So it's very easy to buy. And if you like to do your buy-in on centralized exchanges, you've got Gate.io here. So, but you can, Pancake, Uniswap, you can get this token in a lot of different places if you so choose to, add this to your portfolio. Something else that we talked about earlier, guys, that I think is important. These guys actually launched towards the peak of the last bull market, and then they had to fight and make it through the bear market of 22 and 23, and they've been around now for 4 years. And so they've shown that they can withstand some hard times, but there was a lot of excitement. And you can see here that towards the peak of the last bull market, this was a 57-cent token. So it's retraced 96%. And to me, that's something else that I'm personally looking for when I invest my hard-earned dollars. If I can find a company that's gotten beaten down because of market conditions and just things that are out of its control, but it's working hard and innovating and solving real-world problems, in my opinion, there is a very good possibility that this token could get back all the way up to its previous all-time highs and beyond. So with that, do with that what you will. But everything that you just listened to for the last 40 minutes really kind of comes down into a way, if you're an investor, into this last couple of minutes and deciding if this is something that you want to, put your hard-earned money into. But it's definitely a project that I like and that I'm excited to put into my portfolio. So I know, Vasco, you have to be very, very careful when you're, talking about this topic. But is there anything that you would like to add to what I said?
I mean, yeah, I think that was a great point. From my side, I can say that regardless of the token price, we keep building. So as I said, we just released the new product of the Uniswap hook. We keep talking in the background with big partners with whom we've been talking for quite some time. And I mean, I know that the DeFi regulation is not there yet, but I think their understanding of the need of decentralized compliance and unbypassable compliance has increased greatly. And the recent DeFi or the recent Bybit hack also showed to the whole market how important it is to have compliance on the smart contract level, and as I said, we talk with many big companies in the background. I cannot reveal them, but this is like a top companies in the space. So we are on their radar, and we will just keep building until we get like a really great breakthrough. I also know that like this bull market was really challenging for so far for a lot of new people that came into the market, and also to the real project that are building a real product. But I think we are like, the market have its tendency to correct itself and kind of to make sense that if you have the utility, you will survive. If you just a meme coin or a hype, most likely not. So I think we either coming to a point or soon will be there where the market will be more or less rational again.
Absolutely. Once again, not financial advice, folks, but if you're newer to crypto, maybe you haven't experienced some bull markets, what has been happening is very, very normal. I'll never forget back in 2020, about November of 2020, Bitcoin was probably around $8,000. And I remember I was very close to going bankrupt. I'd been investing in crypto all of 18, all of 19, all of 20, getting crushed off. I remember sitting in my dad's car with him. I was visiting my dad, almost in tears, like, man, I know that cryptocurrency and blockchain technology is going to revolutionize the world, Dad, but if it don't hurry up and start doing it, I'm going to go bankrupt. And, long story short, I watched Bitcoin from November of 2020 go all the way to $42,000 by February of 2021. And then it got crushed off back to 27,000. And everybody thought the sky was falling. Bitcoin was going to zero. The bull run was over. And then what do you know? March, April, May of 2021, Bitcoin rocket shipped all the way back up to a new all-time high of $64,000. But man, that's a heck of a retracement from 42 back to 27. So what is happening right now, in my opinion, and from my experience, watching it go from 108 back to 80 is really just a part of what happens. It's to be expected. And in my opinion, I'm all in. I believe that the next handful of months are going to be absolutely amazing in cryptocurrency. And especially once Bitcoin peaks up at 152, 250, wherever it gets to, I think we're going to have one of the most amazing altcoin cycles in the history of cryptocurrency personally. And I think that projects like your PureFi could directly benefit in astronomical, amazing ways. Once again, we don't know, we don't have crystal balls, but if you're a gambling man, I like your chances of making some incredible wealth potentially, over the next handful of months, especially in some of these lower cap altcoins.
Yeah, I think it's a great perspective. Like it's actually the only reason why we have such crazy hypes and returns is because we also come down a lot. So if it wouldn't come down, it wouldn't go up. Yeah, non-financial advice, but this is just the reality of the market. People's emotions, they always stay the same.
Absolutely. So what do you think, Vasco? You ready to give away $100?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Awesome, man. So we want to thank you so much. The PureFi team donated $100 that we're going to be giving away. We're going to give away $25 in USDT on the Polygon network to 4 individuals. And the way that we're going to verify you and make sure that there's no scammers here and that kind of thing is when we do the drawing and we pull your name up, I'm going to find your comments. So for one thing, you have to be present. So if you jumped into the live stream in the beginning and you typed in, hashtag PureFi, and your name gets drawn, but you're not here to verify that you're here in the comments, then you're not going to win. So as soon as you see your name drawn, you want to come in here to the chat and make a comment. Once you do that, let's just say that old Chuck E. Cheese was one of the winners. I'm going to click this and go to your channel. When I do that, there's an about page on everybody's channel. You're going to come into your about page and you'll be the only one that can edit it. So you're going to go into your about page and you're going to put your MetaMask or your Trust wallet or whatever, EVM wallet you want your USDT sent to on the Polygon network. And I will have that here and I will send these out after the stream is over. And in order to pick the winners, we've got this little cool little tool here that has shown that we've got about 515 entries so far. So thank you guys for being so active in the chat. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and draw the 4 winners now. And then we'll go from there. So once again, you have to be present. So please let us know in the comment section as soon as you see your name being drawn, because we do draw fairly rapidly. If you waste much time, we're going to draw a 5th name or draw alternates. So let's go ahead and draw the first winner and see what we got going on here for $25 in USDT on the Polygon network. Now, obviously, folks, not financial advice, but those of you that are winning this, you might want to run over to a Uniswap or a DEX and use that $25 and buy some PureFi tokens. Because what if this thing 10x's, 25x's, 50x's over the next handful of months? You could potentially turn this free $25 into a lot more. So Slim Shady Crypto, congratulations. You are our first winner. Please let us know that you are here in the comment section. Our second winner is going to be Nisa, kiss me. Nisa, thank you for being on the show today. Hope you are still here. Let us know in the chat. Our third winner is going to be, I love this StreamYard, comment picker because it's so dramatic. It's got to, slow down and almost stop on a name.
Yeah.
JBK, congratulations. You are a winner. And last but not least, Kenny. All right, there we go. I'm going to run back over here to the chat and make sure that you're out here. So here's Nisa. We're going to click on your channel, and we're going to come back over here. Who else are we looking for? We're looking for Slim Shady. Did Slim Shady pop in here yet? There's Kenny. So Kenny, going to click on your channel, go to your channel, get back here. So we need JBK and Slim Shady. Slim Shady, here we go. Thank you. Go to your channel. And then last but not least, it was JBK. I'm not seeing a JBK anywhere here in the chat. So we're going to give this just a few more seconds. Shouldn't take you too long to get in here. No JB. So JB, I apologize. We're going to have to skip over you and go to the next winner. Bernard, are you here? All right, Bernard, you are our next. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. We're not doing another winner. Bernard is the next winner. Bernard, please let us know in the chat if you are here so that we can get you pulled up and verify you. So part of the reason I do it like this, Vasco, is you'd be surprised that if I don't do it like this, people will try to clone. They'll try to clone these YouTube channels and act as if they are the winners. It's the it's the craziest thing sometimes that what people will do to win $25. I'm always telling them, hey, if you just took all of that, all of that energy that you spend trying to scam, $25 and put it into something legit, you probably make a lot more money in the long run.
Yeah, that's true. But everyone likes free money, so
yeah, true. So. Well, we definitely appreciate you very much. I'm really glad that Daniel found this project and researched it and got in touch with you guys and introduced your team to myself, and it was definitely an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show. And just thank you so much. I know that you're busy right now. You're probably working 12, 16, 20-hour days. Especially during this time, you got to make hay while the sun shines. And right now, 2 weeks in crypto is, like 2 months or 2 years in real life. So thank you for, taking an hour of your time to be with us today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Brett. I mean, thanks a lot for the opportunity. I mean, we really wanted to let people know. A lot of people already know about our product, but the more reach we have, the more people know about us, the more products we can attract, and the more products we can actually help to prevent something that happened after the Bybit hack. That's our main goal. So thank you again very much for the opportunity. I think we did great. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I love it. One of the things that I wanted to mention for those of you that have been watching that you may or may not understand is I think Bybit was relatively solvent, and luckily I believe that none of their customers were going to be adversely affected by this hack. Everybody's funds are safe, but that has not been the case for most hacks. Most exchanges, if they get hacked and they lose that money, they're not losing it, you're losing it.
Yeah.
And so PureFi has a protocol here in place that if these companies go use their protocol, there's a much higher likelihood that even if something does happen to these exchanges where you've got your hard-earned money in there, that because of PureFi and their protocols, you might get your money back in a situation where it could have been gone forever had they not existed. So it is, when we're talking about real world utility and a real world problem that needs solved, I can't think of too many too many areas where, you know, what you guys are doing is super, super important. So thank you. And thank the founders, you know, for having the foresight and to see this problem and to actually figure out a solution. It's amazing.
Yeah, thanks a lot. We'll definitely pass it to them.
Right. Awesome. All right, guys. Thank you all for watching. Have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll see you again very soon on the next episode.